This is Kite Cutter TV with another presentation. We gotta talk about this. Okay, guys, the DACA ruling is a win for illegal immigration, but a loss for American workers and legal immigration. Before I get into the ruling, I've been stressing that if Biden does actually get into office, migrant caravans and illegal immigration will go through the roof because of his immigration policies, and it seems that the Washington Post agrees. Migrant caravans could be early tests for Biden and post-Trump relations with Mexico. Mexican president who took office in 2018 told supporters that his country would no longer do America's dirty work on immigration enforcement, but he was forced to do exactly that because of Trump's threats to cripple the Mexican economy with trade penalties. So the Mexican president unleashed an unprecedented militarized crackdown on Central American travelers, blocking their caravans, rounding up families, and allowing U.S. authorities to return non-Mexican border crossers to Mexico for the first time. President-elect Joe Biden could face a difficult test at the border as soon as he takes office. He has pledged to revoke the migrant protection protocols that Trump used to bounce border crossers back into Mexico. But Biden has not indicated how he might handle a new influx of tens of thousands of migrants trying to enter the country. With Central America's economies hammered by the coronavirus pandemic and several powerful hurricanes this year, the elements of a new crisis is gathering. All of this, along with this new DACA rule, is insanity for U.S. politics. Check this out.
Today, a federal judge restored the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA, allowing immigrants who were brought here illegally as children to work and study without fear of deportation. News 8's Richard Allen has more on the ruling and the recourse left to the president.
Well, that's right. While the Trump administration could still appeal today's decision, it is widely seen as yet another blow to the president's ongoing fight to try to end these legal protections for dreamers, 40,000 of whom live here in San Diego County.
It was an immediate yes. It was a celebration.
San Diegan Dulce Garcia is an attorney, immigration rights activist, and a dreamer herself. She's one of 650,000 current dreamers nationwide impacted by today's court decision.
For me, this is about our families. It's about our community. And so it's about a peace of mind knowing that I'm going to be here in the community that what has been my home for over 30 years now.
This federal court ruling restores the Obama-era Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA, which President Trump had repeatedly tried to end. While work permits to current DACA recipients had been restricted to 1 year under the president's order, this new court ruling has now reinstated those permits to 2 years. It also allows an estimated 300,000 additional young undocumented immigrants who were barred from applying for DACA under the Trump administration the ability to now seek this legal protection from deportation.
It's a sense of relief for sure to know that another court has given us this victory.
In June, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration wrongly tried to shut down DACA, calling it arbitrary and capricious, and that it failed to consider the hardship to DACA recipients. Meanwhile, immigration activists say they are anticipating the start of President-elect Joe Biden's administration in the coming weeks.
Within 100 days, I'm going to send to the United States Congress a pathway to citizenship for over 11 million undocumented people.
We know that we can have an administration that we can have conversations at the minimum. The doors will not be closed. And so for that reason, we're hopeful.
And under this court ruling, the Department of Homeland Security has until Monday to clearly post these changes ordered to DACA on the DHS website.
Thousands of DACA hopefuls will soon be able to apply for the program once again. The Trump administration had blocked those applications, but a federal judge ordered the government to restore the program today. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo spoke to a San Diegan who is now waiting to apply.
The Department of Homeland Security has not commented on the ruling. They have 3 days to comply with the judge's order. Friday, the latest blow to the Trump administration and its fight to end DACA, a judge ruling that the administration must once again start accepting new applications and return to 2-year renewals. DACA, or Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, gives legal protection to undocumented immigrants brought to the U.S. as children by their parents. Jacob Sapochnik is a San Diego immigration attorney.
As I'm talking to you, I'm getting all these text messages from people, and they want to know.
For one San Diegan named Harrison, today's news means he can now apply.
We won't be scared of facing that ghost of deportation anymore.
Harrison did not want to show his face out of concern because of his legal status. His parents left their home country of Guatemala when he was 4.
It's very impactful towards me because I now know that I can have a better future, not only for me, but for my family.
The Trump administration first tried ending DACA in 2017, but in June of this year, the Supreme Court blocked its attempt. Now the Department of Homeland Security has until Monday to post public notice on all of its websites that it's accepting first-time applications and renewals following all the terms in place in 2017.
The government, they potentially could file, an appeal, or maybe some kind of a motion to block this from happening.
But Sapochnik doesn't think the administration will appeal. Instead, he's planning on helping thousands apply.
I think it's just important to know that it's going to create an influx of bright people that are going to join our workforce, and I think it's exciting to see it.
Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
To restore DACA, which means new applicants can now apply for the immigration program. DACA is known as the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. It protects undocumented immigrants who came to the U.S. as children. And joining me to talk more about what comes next, what does this ruling mean, is KUSI political contributor Esther Valdez-Clayton. Good morning to you, Esther. Thank you so much for making the time this last minute on this Saturday morning. Great to have you on.
It's literally breaking news, Liz. And of course, along with the earlier segment, an early Christmas present to over 660,000 DACA recipients and potentially over 1 million new applicants. As you mentioned, yesterday's ruling by a district court judge stated 3 main issues to the Trump administration. Number 1, that they must accept DACA applications immediately. Number 2, they must accept new DACA applications, which of course was the whole dispute with the Trump administration, that they rescinded the entirety of the DACA program. And the third major component that a lot of people don't realize is that DACA not only conferred work permits to young people who were brought to the United States through no fault of their own, usually by their parents. Not only did it give them work permits for about 2 years, but the judge also ordered for those work permits to be exactly for the 2-year period of time that the Obama administration had originally authorized for work. The Trump administration this year scaled it back to 1 year. So a lot of these young people had to incur a $500 cost every time to renew it once a year. That's been eliminated. So this is unprecedented. This is, like I said, an early Christmas present to a host of young people, mostly Latino young people, who are also, some of them are the breadwinners for their families. So especially during coronavirus, where many are struggling to work, this is going to have a huge financial impact on many, many families.
Wow, such great news on multiple levels for these dreamers. Many of them, because some of them have been are your clients. You've represented them in court. I can only imagine how they are feeling as they're waking up to this news this morning. Can you elaborate a little bit more, especially over the last year, what they have gone through? I know you alluded to it, that for many of these DACA recipients or prospective DACA recipients, they are the breadwinners in their families.
And many are essential workers as well. The overall demographic of Latino workers is decades younger than their Caucasian counterparts. Many work in the healthcare industries. Many are childcare workers. And as soon as the news broke, my phone started getting texts for appointments and appointments for neighbors, for their brothers who weren't able, for their younger siblings who weren't able to receive a DACA application once it had been cut off. If you recall, earlier this year, the DACA program had been initially restarted and then it was stopped. So that could also happen too. I'm urging my clients to schedule their appointments, go through with the process, but also caution, because this is the Trump administration may also appeal this decision. And also, this is also, the judiciary is getting political. There's a Republican appointed federal judge, Judge Hainan, who originally had struck down the DACA program. And he is being urged by a number of Republican lawmakers to likewise stop and halt this new decision. If that happens, once again, we're going to restart the DACA program and potentially stop it until it reaches the Supreme Court. And of course, the main issue on there is whether it was constitutional to begin with, something that Judge Roberts in his original decision earlier this year stated that still had not been decided. So we have to exercise caution, but for the month of December, it's definitely good news for, like I mentioned, a host of the Hispanic community, but also the young people who have been waiting and waiting. And like you mentioned, I also represent a number of young people who are in removal proceedings. Those are colloquially known as deportation proceedings. When you're about to be removed from the United States, one of the methods that was commonly exercised during the Obama administration to stop those removal proceedings was to file a DACA application and state, my client is eligible, my client arrived here before his 16th birthday, has not committed any kind of significant crime or misdemeanor, was brought here through no fault of his own, was enrolled in high school or is currently enrolled and has graduated in high school and has met all the other factors. So that has in effect halted a number of removal proceedings, allowing that young person to stay here, work here, live here. And we'll see what the Biden administration is going to do once they are instituted as the office of the president-elect takes office. He did state that he wanted a path to citizenship. And of course, DACA does not allow that. It is merely a work permit. So we'll see whether the Biden administration takes this one step further. But for today, it's a day of celebration for many of our clients throughout San Diego, potentially up to 1 million young people nationwide.
Wow, that's a lot of young people. Esther Valdez-Clayton, thank you so much again for taking the time this last minute on this Saturday morning. It's great to see you. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'm sure we will talk to you very soon on this matter and perhaps some others. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, God bless. Peace.